quick jump in. So, area of a circle. When we're talking about area, now we've been doing area for a couple of days, so we should all be happy with this concept. Area is this whole part inside, okay? So if we were looking at this blue outside section, what is that blue outside section called for a circle? Who can give me the name of that blue highlight that I've just done around the circle? What's its name in a circle? It is the perimeter, yeah? Iman, yes, great. Okay, so that blue line around our circle is called a circumference. Okay, and does anyone remember the formula for working out a circumference when we're dealing with a circle? So the perimeter of a circle, how do we work out that circumference? So Kanye, yes, can you please help me? What is our formula for finding the circumference of a circle? You just need to unmute on your side, sweetheart. Okay. Iman, can you help me out? What is my formula for the circumference of a circle?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
P equals 2 times pi r.
Perfect. 2 times pi r. Love it. Okay. And that r is standing for our radius. Okay. So our radius is this part over here. How would I be able to write a formula with regards to a radius and a diameter? So how could I write a formula that includes a radius and diameter? How do they relate to each other? A radius and a diameter. How do they relate to each other? So just like, maybe think about it like this. What is the relationship between a radius and a diameter? Yeah. Okay. Mateo, that's great. Okay. So one radius. So our radius over here, this is one radius over here. If we had a second radius, we would have our diameter. Okay. So if we have 2 radii, that's equal to our diameter. All right. So when we see this 2 times that r, what that's saying is it's our diameter of the circle. All right. Cool. So that was all stuff that we'd already covered in previous lessons. Now we're thinking about this yellow part. How do I work out the area of this yellow part using pi? How do I work out what my area is of this circle using pi? You're welcome to write the formula in the chat, or you can pop your hand up for me. But we're looking for how to find the area of that circle. Okay, Mateo, can you help me out? How do I find the area of a circle?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, it's 2 times r to the power of 2.
That's very, very, very close. Okay, so we're going to have pi times r to the power of 2. Do you see it? So it's very, very close, except we're going to have pi. So we're going to have pi r squared. So we're getting some very interesting questions, very interesting answers popping up over here. So something that often happens, the reason I wanted to write both of these formulas on the same line like this is because often we confuse the 2 different formulas. Naledi, I see your hand here. How can I help?
Ma'am, so I wanted to give the formula for calculating the circumference of a circle.
Oh, okay. So sorry. So I hadn't seen your hand earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Naledi. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to unmute you there again. Okay, so when we're dealing with our area of a circle, we say pi times radius squared. Now remember that radius squared, if you're feeling stressed by the squared, you can also write pi times radius. Okay, So you can do either of those. Would they tell us how much the r is equal to? So sometimes they will tell you what r is equal to. Sometimes they will tell you what the area is equal to. We're going to deal with both of those types of questions today. So the reason we use pi is because pi and circles are completely interrelated with each other. When we spoke about pi, when we first did our circle lesson, so I'm not going to go into it in a huge amount of detail today, but if we have a circle, gosh, guys, my circles are just getting worse as the days are going on. If we have a circle, any circle, okay, and we take the circumference of that circle, so whatever that circle is equal to, and we divide it by the diameter of any circle, we get the same number. So if we take the circumference of any circle in the world, and I mean any circle, so like the circumference of this circle, the circumference of this circle, the circumference of this water, spilled water all over myself, that was fun. Okay, any circumference of any circle, and we divide it by its diameter, like this, circumference divided by diameter, we always get the same constant. We get the same constant value, and that value is pi. And so whenever we're dealing with circles, pi is going to get involved in how we are working with things. Pi is intrinsically connected to circles. Kieran, yes, how can I help?
Sorry, ma'am. What do we do when they don't give us what r equals?
So if they don't give you r, then they would give you the area, and then we would have to work backwards. Okay. Yeah, you can take a screenshot whenever you like. Okay, so we have area is equal to pi times radius squared. That is our formula for an area. So two different important things. Remember, circumference is 2 pi r or pi d, and then area is pi times radius squared. So the reason I've put 2 r's in the circle is just so that you can see that if we have one radius and we extend it by another radius, we would get our diameter. Just to understand the idea that 2 radii is equal to 1 diameter. You can have as many radii as you like in a circle. Like you could have another radius chilling there. Any of those lines is a radius. Yeah, Sonmabile, how can I help?
Ma'am, I'd like to ask, teacher said that in the test, algebra will be there. So I was wondering if ma'am would maybe if next week could like change the topic for algebra or
No, so we did algebra right in the beginning of the year. We will be doing some more algebra in the boot camp, but next week we needing to finish off the rest of the course because we haven't done surface area and volume, but we have done algebra. But you're welcome to go and watch any of those videos on the Watobe website. They are all up there.
okay, ma'am.
Okay. The other formula I know is length times height times 2 pi r h. Length times height times 2 pi r h. Marcus, what shape are you looking at with that? I'll wait for your answer over there. Okay, so this is what we're going to be working with when we have our area of a circle. So I'm going to show you two, here we go. Oh, right, because it's your surface, your volume. Here we go. When we go through them now, I'm going to do two nice easy ones for you just to show you how to set it up and how to work through questions. I'm going to try and show you what the different things are going to look like and what you may be having to do at school. And then I'm going to give you two entirely to do by yourself. Okay, but these ones are all nice and easy. We'll only get to the juicy questions after our brain break today. Okay, so when we're looking at a circle, the first important thing, and this is really important when you get into your test exams, is read your questions carefully. So here they are asking for our area. Okay, that's really important. So when they're asking for our area of a circle, we know that's going to be pi r squared. Now, sometimes it helps to just write that into your little test paper as you're reading through things, sort of helps your head think about what it's thinking. Now we're looking at this 5 centimeters over here. Is this 5 centimeters a diameter, or is this 5 centimeters a radius? Good, it's a radius. Okay, so that 5 centimeters is a radius. Cool. Now that we've done that and we have our formula, it's actually really easy for us to work out this area. We can just say our area is equal to pi times radius squared. You don't have to write the formula there, but I feel like it helps you avoid mistakes by just taking the second to write it out. Okay. Now, depending on your schools, you will be asked to do different things for pi. Some of you are going to be using pi in your calculator, which is what we're going to do in this lesson. So I'm wanting to make sure everyone knows how to use their calculator properly. Some of you are going to be asked to use the fraction 22/7, and some of you are going to be asked to use the decimal 3,14. Whatever you are asked to do at school, that is what I want you to do while you're practicing these. I'm going to be using the calculator because I want to make sure you know how to use your calculator, but all of these are different ways that different schools use them. It's fine. Okay. So if we're using our calculator, we can just write pi. We don't need to say any number for it. And then I'm going to say times my radius, which is 5, and I'm going to square it. Okay. Now, if I put that straight into my calculator, so grab your calculators because I want you to make sure you're getting the right answers. I'm going to push shift, and then I'm going to push this button down here. This one where it says times 10, because if you look just above it, you'll see that there's a pi sign just above it. Okay, so I'm going to push that, and then I get pi. And I'm going to times that by 5 squared. So that's what my calculator looks like at the moment. And I'm going to push equals, and I get this answer over here of 25 pi. Now, I don't want 25 pi as an answer. I want it as a decimal. So then I'm going to push this button that says S to D. Remember, that was third to decimal. And I'm going to get the answer of 78,54 centimeters squared. Okay, 2 important things to take from this answer. First important thing, we always round off to 2 decimal places unless we are asked otherwise. We never round off to a whole number. Okay, so unless we are told otherwise, we always round off to 2 decimal places. The second important thing is that because we're dealing with area, our units need to be squared. Okay, so let's just run through that one more time. Okay, so I'm going to push shift. I'm going to go right down here. We've got this times 10, and above it, I've got pi. I'm going to push that button. So I have pi in my calculator. I'm going to say times 5 squared. So now that's what's in my calculator. I'm going to push equals, and I get 25 pi. I don't want 25 pi. I want it as a decimal. So I push this button over here. It says S to D. And I get the answer that I'm looking for. Okay. All right. Shaden, how can I help?
Hi, ma'am. Hi, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask. Yeah, when I put it in the calculator, it didn't give me the answer 25. It just went straight to 28.5.
That's fine. That's totally fine. So it just depends on how your calculator is set. So don't stress about that. That's totally fine.
Okay.
Okay. Ochapeng, how can I help?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
when you're done with this equation, ma'am, can you please go to the previous one so that I can take a screenshot?
Sure, no problem. Tabang, how can I help?
Oh, sorry, ma'am. It was by mistake.
Okay.
I need to ask.
Okay. Just as a, I just see here, Aka, If they don't want the number to the power of 2 must be square rooted, no. So the thing is, this isn't the number to the power of 2. This is the unit. This is my unit that is being squared. That's what that is. Okay, that's my unit that is squared, not the number squared. Those are two different things. Okay, and so whenever we're dealing with area, our unit is going to be squared. Every time you have an answer that is for area, the unit will be squared. Every time, no exception. If we're looking at like the length of something, or if we're looking at perimeter, let me actually just write this down for you guys. Okay, so like if we're dealing with perimeter or length or like Pythagoras, okay, so any of those, we would have a single unit. So by single units, I mean millimeter, centimeter, meter, like just depending on what your question has, right? If we are dealing with area, our unit is always going to be squared. So I mean millimeters squared, centimeters squared, meters squared. When we're dealing with volume, which is what we're going to be talking about next week, it's always going to be our unit cubed. Every time. Those don't change. So if you're looking for any of those specific things, those units would stay the same regardless. Okay. Bruce, how can I help?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thanks, and yourself?
I'm good. Ma'am, so if we want to find the area of the circle, that's when we use 2 pi r, right?
If you want the area of the circle, then it's pi r squared. And if you want the circumference of a circle, then it's 2 pi r.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ma'am, the circumference is the what's it called?
The
Okay,
outside. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. If you wanted a screenshot of, I think I can fit both of these in at once. Then you can fit them both in like that. There we go. Okay. Cool. All right, so that was our first example. Our first example is just looking at this area when we were given a radius. Second one is very, very, very similar. Okay. Now we've got this 24. Is this 24 our radius, or is this 24 our diameter? What is that 24? Ramaklape, can you help me? What is that 24? Just unmute from your side. So there should be a notification on your side. Yes, but everyone has saved you in the chat though.
Hello. Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. I was saying that this is the diameter.
Yes, it is absolutely our diameter. Nice job. Perfect, perfect. That's the thing. I don't think I'm going fast. I feel like I'm going at a normal speed today. So this 24 here, that's our diameter. Okay. So if we're wanting to find our area, we have to think about our formula. Our area of a circle is pi times radius squared. Now remember what I told you. I told you that 1 diameter is equal to 2 of our radii. Okay. So if my diameter is 24, then what would my radius equal? Kadiwa, what would my radius equal in this question?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Oh, ma'am, I wanted to answer the previous question that you just asked.
Can you answer this one for me though?
Okay, let me try.
Okay.
Ma'am, okay, ma'am, I'm a bit confused.
Okay, so do you see how this diameter is made up of 2 radii? So that's 1 radii and that's the other radii.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if my diameter is 24, what do you think one of these radii is going to be?
12, ma'am.
Yes, exactly. Nice job.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, always hard answering questions under pressure. You did well. Okay, so we know that our radius is half of our diameter. Okay, so our radius is equal to 24 over 2, which gives us our 12 millimeters. Okay, so we now can just put that into our formula. So we can say our area is equal to pi times 12 squared. Now I want you all to practice putting that into your calculator to make sure that you are getting the correct answer when you're putting this in. So I'm going to give you all a second to try and do it by yourselves. And then I'll put the answer up on the board just so you can make sure you're right. Yeah, Kieran,
Ma'am, can I give the answer?
you
What I think?
absolutely can. What is my answer here?
Okay, ma'am. So it equals to 144 pi.
Good.
And
Okay, and as a decimal?
4 pi is 12.
12?
Oh, ma'am, 21,227.
I think something might be going on in your conversion from your first part to your second part. Your 144 pi is 100% right. But your decimal is going a little bit sideways. Just pop it into the calculator again for me. So just write pi times 12 squared and then equals. Do you get the 144 pi again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then look for this button over here, the one that says S to D.
Oh, yes,
Push
ma'am.
that button for me.
452, 452,38.
Beautiful. So we're going to actually make that 8 and 9 because the number next to the 8 is a 9, but that was great. Nice job. Great. Thank you. Okay, so just be careful when we're rounding off, guys. So the second decimal place here, if I had all 3 decimal places, it's going to be 389. Now this 9 is going to make that 8 go up. Okay, so my final answer, I'm just going to write it out here so you can see why. It would be comma 39 because that 9 is going to make the 8 go up. But that's not my final answer because I don't have units, millimeters, because we have to look at what our one is using. So they're working in millimeters. So we're going to work in millimeters. Sorry, millimeters squared. Okay. All right, questions. If your hands are up for questions, keep them up and I will make my way through them. Or where to? How can I help? There should be a notification on your side to unmute. You just need to pop that button.
Ma'am, I wanted to answer.
Oh, okay,
the
okay,
question.
no problem. I will look out for your name as we move down, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Iman, I think that was to answer. If it wasn't, keep it up for me. Shaden, I also think that was to answer, but if it wasn't, you can also keep it up for me. And I will get there. Oshipeng, how can I help?
Ma'am,
Yeah, we can hear you.
from the third A area here, you said for the 452,389, and then you put this little arrow, ma'am. What does this arrow mean?
So this arrow here is just saying that when I'm rounding off, I want to round off to 2 decimal places. And that 9 over there is going to make this 8 go up. So that 8 is going to become a 9 because of the number that's next to it.
Oh.
Okay. Shaden, how can I help?
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask, yeah, I have 2 formulas down. I have there's C times 2x, 2 times pi r, and then I have area pi times square.
Yes, those are both
But
right.
now, ma'am, I just wanted to ask, for radius and diameter, if you're calculating for both of them, do you have to use the same formula?
For calculating for the radius or diameter. Oh, okay. I hear what you're saying. If you're using those two formulas, then my recommendation to you is whatever information they give to you, get it to a radius form. So in this question, they've given you a diameter, which is 24, but both of your formulas use a radius. So just take a step to first think, if my diameter is 24, my radius is going to be 12, and then you can just pop it into the formulas that you know. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Bruce, how can I help?
Ma'am, can I ask, ma'am, so like the 24 millimeters, right?
Mm.
Ma'am, so if they give it to us as like a whole number, like for an example, if they give us like 50, we always have to divide it for us to get a smaller number.
Yeah, so if they've given you the diameter, you always have to divide it by 2 to get
Yes,
the
ma'am.
radius.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you, ma'am.
no problem. Sonobile, how can I help?
Ma'am, can I ask, since we calculate the area, is there a perimeter of the circles?
Yes, so the perimeter of the circle is when we're looking at the circumference. So a question like this, if we were looking for the perimeter of the circle here, that would be the blue part that I highlighted, and then we would use the formula that we have over here for the circumference of a circle.
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. Okay, for the question when it comes about rounding, I'm just going to do a little something over here for you guys when we're talking about rounding off. Okay, so when we're rounding off, it always depends on what number is to the right of the number. Okay, so let's say I had 12, 5, 3, 6, 2. Okay, let's say that was my number. If I wanted to round that off to 3 decimal places, okay, if I wanted to round that off to 3 decimal places, so 3 decimal places is there, I'm going to look at the number next to it. The number next to it is a 2. 2 is less than 5. And so because this number is smaller than 5, my number in the front stays the same. Okay. If I wanted to round this off to 2 decimal places, okay, that's 2 decimal places over there. So I look at my number on the right. 6 is bigger than 5, which means this number is going to go up. So I would have 12,54. If I wanted to round this off to 1 decimal place, don't worry, guys, I haven't forgotten about Brian. I'm getting lots of questions about rounding. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. 1 decimal place is here. Okay, so we look at the number on the right and it's a 3. 3 is smaller than 5. So my answer would be 12,5. If I wanted this to be rounded off to a whole number, okay, so no decimal places, a whole number, just there, I look at the first decimal, and that 5 is 5. So my whole number would be 13, because the 5 would break the 2 up. So whenever we're rounding off, we always look at the number on the right. And if the number is 5 and bigger, then the number changes. And if the number is smaller than 5, it stays the same. Okay, just a little baby tutorial on rounding off. If you struggle with rounding off, I recommend you take a screenshot of this. And then I think we'll quickly jump down to Brian. And then I'm going to give you a couple of questions to try by yourselves. Okay. Cool. Okay, so Brian today has brought you 3 little treats. Jade, for our new student today, a brain break is just something silly we do in the middle of the lesson to give our brains a little bit of relief from all the maths. That's all it is. Okay, so this is Brian. Brian brings us our brain break. And Brian today has brought you 3 dingbats. So for those of you who don't know what a dingbat is, if you haven't been in a lesson with us while we have done dingbats, a dingbat is a picture. And in that picture, you have to figure out what word or sentence or phrase or movie title or book title is from the book, from the picture. That's all it is. Okay. I do see those 2 questions, and I will pop back to that work so you can take a screenshot before we move on. Okay. Okay, let's have a look. So yeah, I like to mix it up. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Keep it interesting. All right, so our first one today, they're not too tricky today, is this one. And my hint to you is that you need to look very carefully, and then it's not hard. Oh, Rarasang, I'm sorry, but that does make sense. So the answer with this is there's 2 words for my answer here. I'm seeing people actually have a very good start. A lot of you are on a very good track. But what I'm looking for has got 2 words. Ah, yes, Chikondi. I'll give it to you. It wasn't exactly what I was thinking, but I'll give it to you. So Chikondi has said miss you. It's as close as we got so far. So this one was missing you. And it's because the U is not in the alphabet. Chikondi, well done. Great work. So our U should be over there, but it's missing. So it's missing U. It's missing a U.
Wow, I was cracking my head out. Like, what is this? Well done.
Kieran, the V is right there. The V is next to it. Yeah, Tristan is insanely good with dingbats. That's very true, puppy. Okay, let's try our second one. This one's nice and easy. Oh, Kamakelo. Yes, Belinda. Yay.
Well
Yay for
done,
Belinda.
Well done.
1 in a million. Nice job. Because the 1 is inside the million. Oh, it's okay, Madal, don't panic. It's okay, Bobby. Maybe 3rd time's the charm. Nice job, Belinda. Good work. Yeah, Shaden.
Ma'am, my heart is beating so fast because I knew that one, but I wasn't fast enough.
Ah, you gotta be so fast.
Yeah.
I wish you luck for the next one, Shaden. Okay, last one of the evening. Last one of the evening. School box. Cool. Ah, yes, Rita. Yes, well done. Nice job. So we have 3 different winners for our 3 different questions. That's great. Good work, guys.
Like my pebs, y'all are really geniuses.
It was definitely high school because the school is high in the box. Kamakela's like, no, this is not for me. This is not my vibe. I'm not into it.
Amanda, you will get to love it. It's fun.
Okay, nice work, guys. You did good. Okay, I'm quickly gonna zoom back to what we had just done, so people could take a screenshot, and then we're gonna do a couple of questions to end off our lesson. I could have added an arrow, but I think if I'd added an arrow, you would have thought I was talking about some kind of direction. Okay, let me just quickly go here. So the first question I had in the chat that I just want to address over here was, where did the 4 come from? This 4 over here. So that 4 came because the number next to the 3, so this number over here that was next to the 3 is bigger than 5. And so when I'm rounding to 2 decimal places, that 6 turns that 3 into a 4 because the 6 is bigger than 5. So as soon as the number to its right is 5 or bigger, it will make that number go 1 up. That's where that 4 came from. Okay, so that's the first question I had in the chat. Shaded. Well, I'm still glad you got it though. I'm still glad you got it. Okay. And then the second was to get a screenshot of these 2 questions. So if you are wanting to take a screenshot of these 2 questions, please feel free. No, so Sunday I used to teach in schools, but then I changed jobs into coding. So I code all day, and I keep all of my teaching energy for you guys. Yeah, Python will become your friend, Kamogelo. You just gotta just stick with it. Okay. I know, Rosang, I'm very sad, but you'll be okay because you've been coming so regularly. You just need to just do your practice and you'll be okay. Okay. Oh, thank you guys. You've been very sweet in the chat. All right, we have got a question over here. It is a nice, simple, standard question. There is nothing fancy about it. Okay, they've given you this information of 7.5 centimeters, and they are looking for the area of the circle. So they are wanting this whole inside area. All right. So in that inside area, that is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the area of that circle. Tabang, it's okay. So boot camp is on the 5th and on the 12th of November. They're on Saturdays. So it's from 3 until 4:30. It's a separate thing. It costs 400 Rand, but you do get given resources, some past papers, a memo, and then obviously the 3 hours with me. Okay. All right, a Sunday, I promised you I would give you this question. Can you tell me what to do here?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
So, ma'am, you start by, okay, you say A equals to pi times r squared.
Beautiful. I like it.
And then say A equals to pi times 7.5 squared.
Beautiful.
And then you say your answer will be A equals to, ma'am, must I say the answer in decimals or?
Yeah. Give me the answer as a decimal.
I got
Okay,
170.71.
Beautiful. Even rounded off beautifully. What are my units going to be?
Centimeters squared.
Yes, perfection. Nice job. Good work, Asande. Jeremiah, welcome. We love our new students. I hope you have a great lesson with us today. Okay, so this question, because it's like so standard and you haven't really had to do anything fancy with it, they would probably only give you 1 mark. Maybe they will be generous and give you 2, but because it's like a very standard question, it's unlikely that it would be worth a lot of marks. So it would just be sort of very, very standard. Okay. Iman and Sarah Lee, if those hands were to answer, you can pop them down for me. I'll look out for your names in the next question, but if they are for questions, keep them up. Okay, Sarah Lee, how can I help?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
Do we have to pay the camp money separate from the monthly money we pay for Watobe?
Yeah, I think it's
Is
a
it
separate
separate?
amount. It's like it's a separate thing that you pay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, hold on. I just saw a question here that I missed. Where did it go? How did he get the answer? Because I got 56,25. If the 4, okay, Kamakelo, just to be clear, if the 4 was a 5 when rounding off, okay, so the answer was, I like these questions where you're trying to clarify things, so I'm just gonna, okay, so the answer was 176,7145, and because that was a 4, that one stayed the same. You're saying, just to be clear, if the 4 was a 5, so if that 4 was a 5, when rounding off, the 1 would turn into a 2, 176,72. 100%. You have understood rounding off perfectly. That is absolutely right. If that 4 had been a 5, that would turn into a 2. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Katiwe, how can I help?
Ma'am, when did you say the boot camp will be?
On the 5th and on the 12th of November.
So like we're revising everything from the start?
We're revising everything in the year.
Ma'am, I only have one problem. On the 9th of November, we're writing maths.
So these dates are set, so we can't change those. But you're welcome to watch any of the videos that we have that are on the website, and hopefully they'll be able to give you some help before your paper.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
No problem. Okay, guys, I'm just going to go on to the next question so long so people can get going on them. If you have questions about the boot camp, if you don't mind putting them in the chat for me rather, that would be great because it'll be easier for you, Linda, to answer. But if you have questions about what we're doing on the work, then absolutely. So the reason the 6 over here isn't turning into a 7 is because I'm not rounding it off to a whole number. So if I was rounding it off to a whole number, then yes, absolutely. Then that would be 1,77. If it was a whole number. But normally we like to keep decimal places. Yeah, if it's 4 below, we leave it. If it's 5 and above, we raise it. Exactly. Okay. So give this one a go for me. So this one is very similar. The only thing that's different with it is now it's a diameter. Okay, so I just need you to think about what that diameter means. So the boot camp will be on the 5th and on the 12th. So there will be 2 different Saturdays, and on both Saturdays, it'll be an hour and a half. And I'll give you a past paper to do before our boot camp. So you'll have to do some work before we meet. And then we're going to work through some of the questions. It'll be online like these normal lessons. It'll just be on a Saturday. And then we're going to work through some of the questions together, like the tricky ones. And then I'll send you a memo for all of the ones that we don't land up getting through. Okay, Isona, how can I help, or do you have an answer for me?
Ma'am, I have an answer.
Beautiful. Tell me what to write.
Okay, now 2, 5. Okay, I said A is equal to pi times r squared.
Beautiful.
Then I said A is equal to pi times 16 squared.
And how did we know it was 16?
Because I divided 32 by 2.
Good. Okay, so if my diameter is 32, then my radius is going to be 16. Beautiful. Okay, keep going.
Then my final answer was 804,25.
Yes, and you rounded off beautifully. Nice job. Well done. What are my units going to be?
Millimeters squared, I think.
Yes, good job, Isona. Nice job.
Thank you, ma'am.
That was perfect. Okay, so if we have a look at our decimals here, guys, your decimal rounding off is getting so much better. I'm so proud of you. Okay, this is a skill that's going to help you so much as you move through maths. I know it seems small, but it's actually like a super important skill, especially as you get to the higher grades. So we have 804,2477, and that 7 over there is going to make our 4 go up to a 5. So that's going to be 804,25. Beautifully done. Well done. Okay, I think let's try and sneak in one baby question, and then I'm gonna have to leave you guys to your quiz today. So I'm just gonna zoom down to one more question. If you want to take a screenshot, please feel free. And then I'm gonna go to one more question. I might have to answer the question for you because we may run out of time, but I want you to at least have an opportunity to see it written in a slightly different way. Okay. So Jeremiah, the quiz is at the end of every lesson on a Thursday, but you don't have to do it immediately. So if you're feeling stressed that you don't know the other work, you can always do the quiz at another time. Okay, so this question is written sort of a little bit sideways. So it's saying the area of a circle is 320, and they want to get the diameter of that circle. So we have to do a couple of things. What this question is telling us is that they've given us a circle, and the area of that circle is 320. Okay, so I want you to think about this formula. So I actually think what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to talk you through this question. Okay. So we've got area is equal to pi r squared. When we have a question like this where we have to work backwards, writing the formula up can really help because it just sort of sets our mind and tells us what we need to do where. Okay. Area is what we know. They've told us our area is 320. Okay. Pi is something that we have in our calculator, and our radius squared is our radius squared. We don't know what our radius squared is. Okay. We are trying to find what our radius is, because if we know what our radius is, we can find our diameter. So if I'm trying to get our radius to be alone, I'm going to divide both sides by pi. Okay, think about it like how we think of our equations. Like if you had 2x is equal to 10, like if you had something like this, then you would know that you're going to divide both sides by 2. So x can be alone. We're doing the same thing here. Okay, we're dividing both sides by pi so that that r squared can be alone. Okay, and then I'm going to put that straight into my calculator like that. So I'm going to say 320 divided by pi, and I'm going to get this answer, and I'm going to write a few decimal places. So 101,8, sorry, pen is just doing some funny things, 859 equals radius squared. All right. Now I want you to think of Pythagoras. When we have something squared and we want our answer to just be a radius, what would I do at this point over here? How would I get that number? How would I get this from r squared to r? What do I do to go from r squared to r? What do I need to do to both sides? Think of your Pythagoras. Yes, good. I need to square root both sides. Okay, so I'm going to square root that number. So I know I'm going through this question quickly, guys. It's just because we've run out of time, and I just wanted you to be able to see a question like this before the end of this course. Okay, so we square root both sides and then we find our radius. But the question wanted to know what our diameter is. But remember, your diameter is just your radius times 2. So my diameter is just going to be 10,09 times 2. And so my diameter is going to be 20,18 centimeters.